Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is our List to Last second in our series. Today is going to be all about value, discovering your value, the value of Tucker, some tools that are going to help you articulate that value, and then putting it all together so your presence online really reflects who you are as an agent. So that's kind of what we're going to cover today. Just a couple quick housekeeping items. We will go probably the full hour, so I promise to have you off here by 11. What else? Everybody is muted on the call, so make sure you locate your question pane so you can type in any questions that you may have. The more interactive we can keep this, the better, so don't hold back. Victoria will be monitoring those questions as I run through the content, and then she will interject as necessary. And of course, anything we don't get to, we'll have some time at the end to cover that. As always, this session is being recorded, so if you registered, which all of you have because you're on the call, but pass this along to any friends of yours, your registration gets you the link to the video after the fact, as well as we'll send out a PDF version of the slides that we go through today and any supplemental materials that we use, which we do have a couple supplements today, and I'll talk about those here in just a second. So look for that email to come out probably within 24 hours from the Tucker Training email account. All right, well, let's get right into it. We're going to kind of recap. We talked about this last time in our Win More Listings or Get in Front of More Sellers topic. Why strive to be a strong listing agent? Of course, this is just reiteration, but if anyone's new to the call, a number of reasons, right? Right now, we're in this world where listings are kind of scarce and few and far between. So the agents that get them are going to be the agents that last in this business, hence the name of our series. So number one, you have a contract. That means that you're probably going to sell that house and you are going to get paid. So that's a really, really good thing. You also have more control over your schedule. We're in a crazy world where buyers, unfortunately, are missing out on lots and lots of houses. And we as realtors, when we're representing those buyers, are running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to get to the house fast and get our offers in fast and make them really, really strong. So that can, of course, be a challenge, and it might take longer to get an accepted offer with a buyer. So for those listing agents, you have more control over your schedule, always a good thing. We all know that a listing should generate at least a couple leads. So that's another good way for you to build and grow your business. More control. You've got more control over who you work with, the location that you work in, the folks that you work with. So that's a great thing as well. Open houses. This is an interesting one. So when you're, of course, a stronger listing agent and you're holding your own homes open, you tend to think a little differently about those kind of quote unquote nosy neighbors. Those folks are great people to add to your database. If they're there looking at a house, chances are maybe that they are nosy, but they're there probably for a reason. So they could be a future seller. So great person to add to your database to keep in touch with. Your efforts matter. You know, like we talked about with the buyers that you're running around crazy, you put a lot of effort in, sometimes it doesn't really pay off, but with a listing, it's sort of a different ball game. And maybe not no more emergencies, but fewer emergencies on the list side when we're serving those clients than on the buy side. So that's kind of the foundation of why we're doing this series. I think it's important to reiterate that every week. So let's kind of talk value. Here we go. All right, here's what you can expect today. So we're going to spend sort of maybe the first chunk of today's call on your value as an agent, Tucker's value as an agent, how to articulate that, how to figure that out, how to make sure that it works for your clients. Then we're going to shift into tools that will help. So Tucker has some unique tools that can help you articulate that value once you sort of think through what's important for you to articulate and for your clients. So we'll talk about those. And then we're going to wrap things up talking all about how to shine online. So folks are doing their research. The first place they're looking for realtors is likely online, on Facebook, Google, whatever. So we want to make sure that you have all of the tools and you are super visible online. So all of that value stuff that we talk about on the call today is apparent when people are looking for you. They can see who you are, what you're about, and why they should work with you. So this is sort of all about that, who you are, what's your value, so that you win that listing and have a client, have a contract. You're going to get paid. So let's get into it. So there is an exercise that if we were live and together, I would love to do this in person. Unfortunately, that's not the case today. We're still in this virtual world. So you guys have, I believe I've attached this handout, Discover Your Value exercise, in the webinar. So Victoria was telling me that she couldn't find it. I see it on my end, so my apologies if you guys don't see it. What I can promise you is this attachment will go out to all of the attendees and registrants when we do our follow-up info. So what this is a one-sheet document that will help you as an agent sort of get to the heart of what your value proposition is. So it's going to ask you, what are your strengths? What do people usually need your help on? And why does a seller care? So you might have a strength of communication. That's probably one of mine. And why does that matter for a seller? Well, I can think of lots of reasons why that would matter to a seller. I just need to be able to make sure that I'm articulating that in a good way that's apparent, whether it's online, whether it's in a listing presentation, etc. So when you fill this worksheet out later today or later this week, make sure that you're framing everything and thinking of everything of why would this be important to a seller? That's the name of the game, right? Because if it's not important to a seller, it's not really worth bringing up. And sometimes we may not know exactly what it is that's important to that seller if we don't ask good questions. We're going to talk all about asking really, really good questions next week. But just a reminder that when we're thinking of why is it important to a seller, each seller might have different things that are important to them. We'll get more into that later. This sheet is also going to have you explore any weaknesses that you maybe have. Maybe it's you're disorganized or scattered, or you struggle to keep, track of dates that are important. We all have our weaknesses, right? But what I want you to do when you're filling out this exercise later is not only think about how do I minimize those weaknesses, but how can I supplement those? And we're going to talk through some Tucker tools today that could be helpful in you supplementing those. Another great I hate to call this a tool because it's really a value of the FC Tucker company, but you guys have great managers and staff. So if there's an area that you're weak, not a bad thing, we all have them, right? But think about how you could maybe lean on those other folks that you have access to, the people, the tools at Tucker, whatever it might be, to sort of backfill or minimize or supplement that area that you are not so strong. So that's going to be an area that you'll spend some time in on that worksheet. And then what's the value that you provide to your clients? And again, this could be different based on the seller, but I want you to spend some time sort of thinking through that. And this is all, your value is very, very unique to you. So you'll spend some time on this worksheet. And then why should a seller pick you and why should they refer to you? So that's what we're going to try to get you to on that worksheet when you fill it out later, because that's where the rubber meets the road, right? We all have unique pieces of ourselves that are important to a seller, and it makes us shine as a realtor. So you're going to do a little self-discovery in that worksheet to get to your value proposition and why that seller should pick you and then refer to you over and over and over and over again. The value of Tucker, we're going to talk about a little bit more this morning. So this one's a little bit, maybe not easier, but I can help you with the value of Tucker because we have so many great tools and resources available. So there is also a handout that sort of mimics the your value, and this is the FC Tucker value exercise. So this is going to have you start to think about what do you see as an agent as a value of the FC Tucker company? What does a seller see as the value of the FC Tucker company? Again, why is it important to them? And it's going to kind of walk you through some of those questions. I have gotten you guys started today, so let's spend some time on these next two slides. So when we talk about the value of the FC Tucker company, there are some really great reasons why a seller would rather affiliate with FC Tucker versus maybe a broker that doesn't have the market share or the footprint that we do. So one of those number one reasons is our agency force. It's strong across the whole state, which is great for that seller because there's a lot of There's a lot of marketing out there. That market share, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, does tend to really shine. And chances are, if you're, when you run a market share report, Tucker will likely sort of rise to the top. So that's a good thing for that seller. It's great visibility. We also have, of course, a rich 100+ year history. So we've been around for a really, really long time. Pandemic, hell or high water, will likely still be around. So that's a good thing for them. We're not a brand new shop that had popped up, when the market was really good and won't maybe be around when the market isn't so good, when things change or when they shift. So that's an important piece, a wonderful topic to have a conversation about with your seller, especially in this a little bit maybe more uncertain market. The other one, bullet point number 3 on there, our agents outpace the competition 2 to 1. So chances are, depending on the market that you're working in, and you can run these numbers with a tool that I'll show you later, but the chances are that you are selling as a Tucker agent more homes and you're more productive than a non-Tucker agent. Again, it's a great story for a seller. It just means that our agents are by and large more full-time, successful, committed agents that are going to work hard for their sellers. The other one on there that I think would be of something important to a seller, our website traffic. So talktotucker.com outpaces MyBor in the metro area and averages almost 500,000 visitors monthly. That's huge, you guys. And we're going to show you when we get to the tools section today of how you can articulate some of that traffic to your sellers. So this would be something I would think so important for your seller client, right? They want eyes on that property. And this is a really great way to do that. And not only of course, are their listings going to be on talktotucker.com, they're going to be on all the major websites, but we tend to have really, really, really great website traffic. I don't know if anyone has searched for their listing lately, but that talktotucker.com website is up there, if not in the one spot, definitely in the top 2 or 3 spots. Great things for your sellers. And then finally, and there's more, I'm sure you guys can think of a million more great pieces of value for FC Tucker for your clients, but the last one I want to talk about are our in-house mortgage and title companies. This just helps make the transaction really, really smooth. I like to articulate this because I think it's worth mentioning, if at all possible, keeping those services in-house just makes my job as your advocate, as your agent, easier. If we have an issue on the title, I can call up title services and we can work through that together. So having that in-house just means we're all sort of playing on the same team to try to get the deal done. So those are the values of FC Tucker for sellers, some of the ones that I've called out. Definitely feel free to type anything in the chat pane if I've missed one, and we'll give you a shout out as far as FC Tucker value for sellers. I'll have Victoria tell me if she gets a good one in that we need to share.
I haven't had anything in, but I did have a question.
Sure.
Those 400,000 visitors a month to our website, are those unique visitors or visits? And I think it's like
visits.
Each visit, right?
Yep. Not necessarily unique, and that's okay. Repeat visits are great too, right? Hopefully people are saving searches, they're going back and looking at homes, and they're using us as the go-to, especially in the Indianapolis metro area, for properties available. Good question. Okay. As Tucker agents, we have great value being associated with the Tucker company. And these are maybe not necessarily topics that you would articulate to your seller, but these are just kind of those things to keep in your back pocket. And when you are filling out your worksheet, trying to really get a good grasp on what your value is as an agent, keep some of these things in mind. So again, these are just sort of off the top of my head of the things that I really think differentiate our association with the FC Tucker company. Tons and tons of ready-made marketing tools at our fingertips. So the Tucker Toolbox, great resource. Our whole marketing department, Steve Rumley, is available for franchise agents. So we have so many materials available that once we have a new listing go live and we need to market it quickly, especially in this market, a lot of that stuff is already ready-made. You don't have to worry about, consulting with somebody to get some new pieces mocked up or even creating them ourselves. With really a couple clicks and an MLS number, you can have some really, really great stuff created. So I think that's a huge value. It just kind of cuts down on time and makes it easy for us to market quickly. Of course, our support staff in our offices and also at the Agent Support Center, there's a ton of people on your team. Even if you're a single standalone agent, you have a gigantic team of folks from your branch staff that can help you get postcards in the mail or do pop buys or whatever, to your managers who can help coach you and business plan and troubleshoot when you come to issues in a contract. You have your whole agent support staff. So you've got us in the training department, that whole marketing department that we talked about, relocation, home services, accounting. The list goes on and on and on. And we have so many benefits of folks to reach out to for help should we need it. So major, major value of the Tucker Company. Don't forget about our suite of tech tools. Really, really important, especially when we shifted virtually so quickly. Thank God we had a lot of these because it allowed us to work pretty seamlessly from home. So that's stuff like G Suite, Google Mail, Calendar, Drive, Dotloop for getting signatures and managing our transactions completely electronically. Great, great thing. Buy-side, we talked about Buy-side last week. That's that awesome tool that can help you find potential sellers. It's unique to the Tucker Company in our market. Our Tucker CRM, that's again unique to us. It's a way for us to keep track of our people, super important. Quick Buy, I may be speaking a little soon. Quick Buy is coming back, asterisk. Don't tell anyone I told you that, but you heard it here first. I believe Quick Buy will be back before the end of the year, so get excited about that. More trainings to come in the future if you don't know what that is yet. Of course, our IT support is unparalleled. You guys can submit a ticket anytime. I am one of the guys in IT and just say, hey, I'm having this issue with whatever it is, and you've got them to kind of drop everything and help troubleshoot and get you back on your way. Very, very important this day and age. Agent metrics, we're going to talk about agent metrics when we get to the tools section again, but that's another really great data tool that we have access to as agents of the FC Tucker Company. Of course, talked about this top-notch website and app that we have the availability to use. Our training department is amazing. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but we work endlessly to make sure you guys have all the tools and resources that you need. And then automation. Automation, whether it's using the CRM and automating marketing campaigns, or the marketing department automating mail campaigns, or working with your staff to help you, hey, when I get a new listing, let's get this sent out every single time. There's tons of really great automation that you can set up in the background to kind of put your business not on autopilot, but have things happen that you don't necessarily have to babysit every single time. So keep in mind of that automation. And again, hopefully some of these pieces will be helpful for you as you're kind of putting together your value proposition. So when we're kind of thinking and kind of going back to that value question, I would encourage you guys always frame your value is what is it going to mean for that seller? And this series is all about sellers, but obviously if you're working with buyers, why is it important to the buyer? Because if it's not important to them, they're not going to care. You're just going to be spewing off information that they don't care about. So again, why would it be something important to a seller? And that's going to be different for lots of sellers. When we talk about personal stats and office stats, I just want you guys to keep in mind, we tell our new agents this in training all the time, you know, have a statistic or two in your back pocket about you or about your office, or if you're on a team, about your team. Why should they pick you? Maybe it's something like your days on market is, you know, 25% lower than the MIBOR average. That would be a great statistic to share. Maybe your sale price to list price is higher than your peer agents. So use MIBOR or your board site, use agent metrics, which we'll talk about in a minute, to just grab one or two statistics that when you are asked that question, why you have a solid, concrete answer to supplement all of that other stuff. I'm a great communicator, I'm highly organized, I have a team of people to help me. And hey, guess what? My sale to list price is 2 percentage points higher than the board. Those are just great things to include. So think through that. Hopefully this has also helped you understand maybe where you need a little help, maybe where you need to lean on your staff or the marketing department or whatever it might be. or maybe beef up on a tool that we have. And then of course, you may have some materials that you need to enhance as part of your listing presentation. Just kind of think through that. And hopefully once you complete those exercises, you'll feel more confident in your value proposition. All right, I'm gonna pause, and I apologize, sometimes I tend to talk quickly. Victoria, any questions that came in from the chat pane?
I have not had anything come in unless anyone is furiously typing. I think we're okay.
All right. Let's talk tools. So last week, and if you haven't had a chance to rewatch that webinar, it's on our YouTube channel. It was in the buzz yesterday. Really, really great stuff. We talked a ton about tools to help you find or get in front of more sellers. There's a lot of tools. We have a lot of stuff out there. Hopefully, if those of you that tuned in were able to gather one or two that you want to use, that was the goal. What I want to talk about with these tools are how can you use these tools to win your listings? So why should someone pick you? Because of the tools I'm going to hopefully help you use or utilize better. Okay, so let's first talk about Tucker Toolbox. So we talked about, I showed you this last week. You now have on the homepage of Tucker Toolbox ready-made tools and resources when you have a listing go live. So within minutes of your property going active on the BLC, you will see it show up here in this My Listings section. So you can see here that I have a property that's live, and I'm going to kind of show you what are some really, really great tools that are going to set you apart from the competition, just so you know to communicate this to your would-be seller on the front end, but then also utilize them once you get that listing to go live. So you can kind of see all the great stuff that exists in here, and you can create any of this with a click of a button. But the ones I want to focus on today, because I think this will help you win those listing appointments, under the web tools section, when a listing goes live, you can view that listing traffic. I'm going to show you what that report looks like here in just a second. But you can also create a seller report. And I do this day one of my property going active. I go in there, I enter my client's email address and set it up to automatically update them on what our website traffic has been. So you can set it up, I believe, daily or weekly. Weekly probably works for most people, but then it's one less thing for me to do. I've just automated that weekly communication going to my client, showing that what our traffic was, how many unique views, how many detail views into the property, to kind of help them understand what the interest is. If we spike the first couple days and then we sort of die down and we haven't had many showings or an offer, that's going to tell us something about that property. So it's going to help you as a listing agent have conversations on, we need to make this update or change, or maybe we need to think about a price reduction. So again, automating that communication, great resource for your seller. And this is actually what that listing traffic looks like. They'll get this in an email if you set them up on that seller report, but you as an agent can come in here at any point and look at that traffic and how it has changed over the last week or month. You can change your date range to whatever it needs to be. I think right here we likely had a price reduction, which got, we went from, 35 views on the 21st to 120 views on the 22nd. So just a good tool to talk to your sellers about. The other one that I love under that's available on the toolbox under your listings are these ready-made social media posts. We're going to talk a lot about social media at the sort of end of this presentation today. So here are some great one-click options available to you, again, right from the toolbox, okay? But I love these. Again, there was that listing traffic report. All of that stuff too that I just showed you is new, probably within the last, maybe year, Victoria. Yeah. So if that's new to you, it is sort of newer to the company. So just check it out. It's on the toolbox. It's great. Okay. The other one, buy side. If anybody knows me on this call, you guys know that I love buy side. I think this is probably one of the most underutilized Tucker tools, and this is huge, you guys, for not only helping you find more sellers, which is what we talked about last week, and we talked about buy side, but there's a component to buy side that's going to help you win the listing, and that's called the BMA, or buyer market analysis. So this is a report that you can generate. So let's pretend for a second that I'm going to go on a listing appointment tonight. In preparation for that, in addition to all the other stuff I'm going to do to get ready for my appointment, I'm going to run a buy side BMA. It's going to take you guys like 5 minutes once you know what you're doing. So it's not going to add too much time. And what this BMA report will do, it's a nice supplement for your listing presentation that will help show your sellers, or your would-be, hopefully, sellers, what the buyers are searching for. So tons and tons of great value, because every agent's going to take to the table, here's what sold, here's for how much, here's how many days on market. But we, because of our great traffic on our website, can also show like what the search activity is, which is inevitably going to lead to sales. So this particular page that I'm showing you now is a buyer heat map. So this just kind of, this dropped a little blue pin right where that property address is of the listing I'm going to go to tonight. And it shows how active the searching is for properties in that area, okay? So the darker the color, the more active the search. So you can tell from this particular one, that pin is dropped in a very, very active search area. So that's a great thing for that seller, and it will tell a good story. The next component, this is I think page 2 or 3 of this BMA, this breaks down, okay, from that area, how do we drill this in a little bit closer? How do we put some numbers behind that? So within the last 90 days for this kind of a property, there were, I don't know, 12,000 searches. Online activities within a 5-mile radius were just over 1,000. Online activities within a 5-mile radius and within the home's price range, 93, and online activities within a 5-mile radius within the price range, and someone looking for a 4-bedroom. This is a 4-bedroom home. So it really starts to show you what kind of search activity is out there. People are looking for a home like yours. This breaks it down, these little graphs down here a little bit further, you know, bedroom count, price range. You can kind of see how that data translates. And then here's where the rubber meets the road. And I love this page of the BMA. This is the last page. I could now say something to my client like, you know, I'm sure you're interviewing other brokers. It's important that you find someone that's going to be a really good fit and help you meet all your goals in selling your home. Any other realtor that comes to the table is going to be able to show you the market activity, what has sold, when, and for how much. But what they can't show you is the active buyers searching for a home like yours. But I have a tool at the FC Tucker Company, because we're #1, to actually connect with those other FC Tucker realtors to get your home sold quicker. So list with me and I'll get to work right away. And what these buyer IDs are people that have saved searches, not just searches, saved searches. They're serious, right? On talktotucker.com for a home that could be, that this one might fit for. I as the listing agent would never know who those buyers are, but if they're connected to a Tucker agent, which most of the saved searches on the website are, then I can reach out to that agent and say, hey, you know, Victoria Thomas, I saw that you have a buyer that's maybe looking for a home like this in Carmel. I've got this great listing. We just went active today. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but let me tell you about it. And you can work more proactively to get that home sold. So it's kind of like, I sort of liken this to a reverse prospecting online, like in your board's website, but like on steroids, because now I know on my back end, I would see who these Tucker agents are associated with these buyers, and I'm picking up the phone or I'm texting them and saying, my gosh, we had such a great transaction together last year. Let's do it again. Your client looks like they're searching for a home. I just got this great new listing. Let's talk. So it gives you that additional piece of, I'm gonna get your home sold fast. And that's gonna be what will resonate with your seller. What questions do you guys have on the buy side market analysis? Or I'm sorry, buyer market analysis. I'll pause again for a quick sec.
I had a question. Do you print your reports? Do you leave these behind? with your potential sellers?
I would take this one with me, honestly. There's nothing in there that they could like use or call, but I would probably show this to them and then take it with me unless they're like, let's go. The heat map, maybe I would leave behind. I think this is a nice one to print. It's 6 pages total, this whole report with that heat map, the search activity, and then this buyer piece. But I'm gonna hold this one sort of close to the vest because I want them to hire me so I can get to work. I can't do anything until we have a signed listing contract. So this one, I might leave my, buyer or seller book, I'm sorry, my, about me, all that stuff behind. But this one might be one I keep a little closer to the vest with me because this is unique to me and unique to Tucker.
Cool. I have another one. Still not clear, how does the last page of the BMA differ from reverse prospecting?
Yeah, so great question. So of course, we all know reverse prospecting, we'll just use MyBoard as the example. You are able to send an email, or if you know the agent, call or text them with anyone that has a saved search on myboard.com. And that's great. But they're not always agents that we know, or who knows what it is. It could be an agent that's got, an open house, they're searching for open houses, or they're just watching their own neighborhood. But the thing I like about the buy side BMA is it's just saved searches on talktotucker.com. So now we're not looking at the whole board. We're actually internally helping each other work and helping match those buyers with new listings. So that 11, for example, that isn't the sexiest number. I mean, we know there's definitely more than 11 buyers with looking for maybe a home like this in Carmel, for example, but these are Tucker agent buyers. And that's cool because I can reach out to my Tucker peeps and you can email them like you would a reverse prospecting, but I encourage agents to pick up the phone because I think that's a much more warm connection. And you can say stuff like, hey, I just used buy side and I saw that you have a buyer saved, like let's get to work. So it's more of an internal connection and trying to get that home sold more quickly. So not to knock reverse prospecting at all, but we all know sometimes if we just get an email from an agent we really don't know, you're not going to typically respond to that because chances are you and your client saw that property hit the search and it was emailed to them and they just weren't interested. So I like this. I just think it's a little warmer and it's just Tucker agents. So that to me is the biggest difference. Good question. Anything else, Victoria? Nope. Okay. So that is the buy side BMA. Great tool. Shifting gears, I alluded to agent metrics. This is another huge differentiator, you guys. This will help you win listings. So agent metrics is a newer tool. We rolled it out earlier, actually during the stay-at-home order, I think is when we rolled it out. And there are 3 different components within agent metrics that can help you as a listing agent. We're going to spend the most time today talking about market share. But there's also a tool where you can look at your office statistics. Market share is broker or office share. And then market knowledge. This is one, we're not going to dig too much into it today, but we've got some great recorded trainings for agent metrics on market dynamics. That's a tool that will show you what has happened in the market with sales price, days on market, etc., new listings under contract. And then there's a really, really great pricing tool in there as well. But what I wanted to show you, and I just did a quick search and did sort of a screenshot here to show market share. This is a big one. If you're not talking about market share in your listing presentations, you might want to think about it or at least keep it in your back pocket in case it comes up. So we can see here the area that I searched in. I think I did a Washington Township search when I added this the other day. So this shows listings and sales in that particular area, and you can drill this down to anything. It can be a city, it can be a zip code, it can be an MLS area, it doesn't matter. It can be a neighborhood even. So if you know Tucker or you do a lot of business in a particular neighborhood, use neighborhood, show them how Tucker, reigns supreme. So in this instance, I would say something like, our market share for the FC Tucker company is, I can't even do that kind of quick math in my head, something like 5 times more than our closest competitor. So it just further emphasizes why you would want to list with the FC Tucker company. And that's a what's in it for me for your seller. Remember, we talked about that back on a few slides ago. You know, we've been around forever. We lead in market share. We have the most agents. So that's just a huge benefit for that seller to see it in black and white in front of them. Like, oh my gosh, that's really awesome. There are some cool filters that you can add to this report to show days on market. So you could add a days on market filter, and maybe our days on market was on average 30 and our next closest competitor was 40. Well, that's a difference, right? 10 days quicker of a sale is a great thing. So just, you know, like any statistic, use it how it makes sense for you and that creates the story that you want to tell. But especially for our metro folks, you guys will find, I think, in almost all areas that we lead in that market share. So use that, keep that in your back pocket and use it if needed. Any questions on agent metrics?
Nope, not on agent metrics.
Okay. Any managers or staff or even agents on the call, we've been doing agent metrics trainings virtually, office specific. So if you think this would benefit your office, reach out to me or have your manager or your staff reach out to me. We'll set something up. It's a great tool. Sometimes with data tools, they're a little, you know, hard to figure out at the beginning, but once you're going and you know what you need to run the reports that you need, it's pretty simple. So hit us up for that. Okay. So we talked tools, we talked value, and now it's kind of time to bring it all together. And I think one of the biggest pieces with value, we talk a lot about this at the Agent Support Center, is helping our agents really shine online, because that's where the eyeballs are right now. We're not maybe doing networking events like we used to, and we're maybe not, you know, in our churches or our communities like we used to be. So online is so important to take all of that stuff we just talked about and make sure it's readily available and it's apparent who those agents are online. So homework, audit yourself, Google yourself, type in your name and the word realtor, see what comes up. Hopefully, I think my next slide shows this. Hopefully, Paul Bates, I don't know if he's on the call, but he has a really awesome online presence. And I'm using him as an example. You can see here that he comes up, his #1 search result is his Talk to Tucker website. That's great, right? We want to send people to that Tucker website. It just further increases our traffic as a company. But he has also claimed his realtor.com, his Zillow sites. Again, I would encourage you guys to do that. I know Zillow isn't always everybody's favorite thing, but you have a Zillow site out there, and for free, you can claim it. You can add your photo. You can put information in there. The key is just making sure when people search for you, they're seeing a consistent story. They're not seeing that you're an outline shadow on Zillow because you haven't really claimed it and you're not even on realtor.com and blah, blah, blah. Having a nice, robust presence is the name of the game, right? It shows your success. It tells that story. So I thought Paul was a really good example of this. He even has his own website, Paul Bates Homes, that came up in the #4 spot. So consider claiming all of that information. We'll go back a couple of slides. So not only are you present, but are you showing what your value is? Is that coming through? And it's easier to show a lot of that who you are type stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll show you some good examples of that in a second. But being consistent across all platforms. And then consistency. So one of my suggestions or takeaways from today is having that consistent look. So maybe it's the same photo that you hopefully update every year or so on those different platforms. People see you and they can tell what you look like. Ladies, if you change your hair, change your photo. Gentlemen, if you lose your hair, change your photo. People want to see you and what you look like. And it's really obvious when you have an old, outdated photo. Photos just look different, even if they're only 10 years old. So keep up on that. And that's a way for you to really shine online. I would suggest adding content monthly. We're going to talk a lot about testimonials today. So not that you need to be managing all of these sites every single day. That seems really overwhelming. But as you get new content, testimonials are a great one. Add that in so that people are seeing fresh content. And then I would suggest auditing and updating annually. So that's stuff like making sure your contact information is correct. If your office moved, make sure your office address is correct. If you need to change your photo, do that annually. So, you know, those are kinds of things just to kind of calendar and make sure that you're keeping track of. Talked about content fresh, we talked about testimonials. And then would you hire you? Like, be honest with yourself. So I've searched for some realtors, and to be honest, like the pictures are creepy. I wouldn't hire that person. So be honest, ask your friends, ask your colleagues, does this look welcoming? Does this look friendly? Does this reflect who I am? I'm not the kind of person that's going to wear like, you know, a white button up and a suit jacket and, you know, be all primed up in a photo, because that's not me. I'm wearing a watermelon shirt today and like funky earrings. That's just me. So I would want to make sure that my online presence is reflecting who I am as a person, because those buttoned up folks aren't gonna, when they see me, they're gonna be like, well, that's not who I was expecting. So just, you know, be consistent, and whatever that is for you, just be you. That's kind of the key here, especially with social media. Okay, so let me show you. So that was Paul Bates. So I would encourage you guys, homework, Google yourself, see what comes up, and is it consistent? And then I wanted to show you some examples of some people that I think do a really, really, really good job on their websites and on social media, showing who they are. So Ferris Property Group is one, and disclaimer, these are some Tucker agents and some not. Ferris Property Group, I gave you guys 2 screenshots of their Instagram page. This first one here on the left, it's really clear that they, you know, they use this kind of lime green color and it looks really cool. These are their stories. And stories on Instagram is like a conversation for another day, but it all has a really consistent look. Their market minute, which is over here on the right, again, has that very consistent look. And not that you need to change up the market watch, but just be conscious of your feeds and is it showing who you are. So this is kind of one that's on steroids that I think is just really beautiful. Even their posts, I think this was a testimonial, July maintenance tips, like it's all sort of got that similar feel. And a lot of agents do this really, really well. So that was the FPG example. Mary Wernicke has another great social media presence. So I'm gonna actually start over here on the right. She has, this is her Instagram, and she has a wonderful sort of about me section. So this about me on Instagram should mirror or supplement what she has on our website, and so on and so forth. So she says that she's a personal real estate powerhouse. I love that. Top selling team in Indy, 16 plus years of real estate experience, hard work and results equal repeat clients. And then she has included her website, and she has called out the FC Tucker company. So this is a really great example. This picture of Mary is the same one that's on her agent website, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of see that that consistency pays off. I love in her, just like her little thumbnail pictures, you kind of see a trend here. Like you see brick in almost all the pictures. You see her logo, this M&W in a lot of the pictures. You see sort of this navy color running through. So I think she does a really good job of featuring properties, of featuring information about her, testimonials. She's done some nice overlays. This one might be hard. Well, let's just use this middle one. She's got this beautiful exterior shot of a home that she's listing, and it says showing start Saturday. So she just used an app and had that overlaid with her logo, and it looks so professional and so consistent. So I would want to work with Mary. She looks like she's got her stuff together, and she has a very polished look. Very, very important thing for a seller. Great example. So Mary, if you're on the call, you rock. Here's another agent that does a really great job, Kelly Huff. Her Instagram sort of tells about who she is. So she has really embraced this mid-mod specialist title. She is a self-proclaimed specialist for mid-century modern homes, which is a great, that was brilliant, right? She's building her business in this area. So you can get really specific with what it is you want to do. Just be you, right? So Kelly, again, has a great about me section. And her photos, like a lot of them are unique and mid-century homes. So it's just a really cool again, consistent way to show who you are. When we're talking about agent website, we all, of course, have our Tucker provided agent website, and that's absolutely where I would encourage all of you to start. Now, if you're already a rock star and you're looking for the next thing, you might have your own website. Like I could have ChristySellsHomes.com or whatever it might be. I don't. I just continue to use the Tucker one, which works perfectly fine for me. But I really want you guys to think about, how do you beef that up? So there's a lot of agents that I still see that just have that really generic, my success in real estate is due to my passion, da, 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 da. Change that, because people know that that's not, you didn't write that. It's so generic. Like it's not me. It's not what I have on mine. So think of some things that you want to include. And I just kind of showed you where to get to your agent bio on your Tucker website. You want to manage my site and my leads. And then agent bio, it's a free form field. You can type anything you want in there. We're doing a lot of training with fair housing. I would absolutely, you guys, include languages that you speak. Because when people stumble across your website, and if I spoke Spanish, I would definitely have that on my website. Like that's important. People can filter by languages you speak in another way, but why not make it really easy for them to find that? What are you involved with philanthropically? Add your social media handle so people can see that you also have a presence on social media and connect and follow you there. Statistics. I have an awesome example of statistics. Lynn's website, this to me is like probably one of my favorite ones I've ever seen. I like it because the data pops out. She's got the red along with the black. I've not really seen any other agents do this. But remember how we talked about those statistics and what would be important to a seller? She's got them on here. So her homes typically sell for 3% more when they're listed with her. Her homes typically sell sooner than the board average. So just think of, what it is that you want to highlight and consider doing that on your Tucker website or any other website you have. So statistics, who you are, what you do, any affiliations you have, interests, what your philosophy is. I think Lynn had that on hers as well. Yep. She has her philosophy right there at the top. She's going to be educate and be brutally honest. If that doesn't work for you, don't hire Lynn, right? Designations that you may have, what your education background is, community involvement. I love Derek's website because he has, this is, I think, two great examples. He's got video. You guys can embed video on your Tucker agent website. But this video tells me a lot about who Derek is. He's a dog lover, and that's going to resonate with other dog lovers. So that kind of goes back to that, make it you, make it fun, make it pop, and make it you. So great job, Derek, for doing something different. I don't see a lot of agents that put video on their website. I love this. And it shows that he's a dog lover. Again, a great thing that's going to resonate with a lot of buyers and sellers. Testimonials. I guess I should pause. Any questions on agent websites, what to include, how to take all that value stuff and like put it in black and white online? Take a quick sip while you guys are typing. Quiet, it seems like.
Tim asked, how do you add video?
It is, I don't know that am I gonna see it on my little screenshot here? I cut it off. When you go to this section, manage my site and my leads, and then the agent bio, Tim, up in this sort of formatting section, mine sort of cut off here, but you can see that I can add an image or a chart or a link. There's one for adding a video. So you would just click on that and put that video right there in the body of your information. And definitely reach out to us or your office staff if you have questions or need help with that. Another agent, if you guys want to go, I think some of the best ways to really enhance your website or see what other people are doing. Another agent that utilizes a lot of video is Adam Catron out of our Crosspoint office. Check his website out. I almost included you as an example. Adam, if you're on the call, sorry, I didn't, but he has some great stuff as well. And it's really him because it's him talking about the home buying and selling process. And it's so authentic, it's so unique, and it's so him. So if you are terrified of being on video and have no videos today, I would not suggest going out there and doing it right now, but think of it for the future. So if it's you, use it. Okay, testimonials are another one, and I want to show you guys. Let me see if you can see it on my testimonials. You can add them to your Tucker website right under that bio section. So again, right from Tucker Toolbox. So important for us to add testimonials online. If you have shopped for anything in the last year online, I guarantee everyone on this call has read testimonials. I read them to a fault sometimes. But testimonials are great because we can hear from other folks, you know, what they liked, what they didn't like, what the challenges they had, et cetera, et cetera. So including those testimonials, I think that's just a non-negotiable item. And it's really easy to do that on the Tucker Agent website. I just showed you where, but you can add those to other sites as well. You can add those on Zillow, even if you don't pay for an account. Remember, we talked about that free account that you had. You can add testimonials and it just further enhances your online presence. So some best practices when it comes to testimonials. Number one, set the expectation for your people during the listing presentation or during the buyer consult. I'm going to ask for feedback. I want you guys to be brutally honest with me. I want to get better and I want to serve you guys in the very best way possible. So throughout the process, I'm going to ask how I'm doing, and I would love for you to share that feedback with me. Everyone's going to say yes to that. And then actually do it. Actually ask for that feedback. When you got them the house or you negotiated that inspection response beautifully, or just at least got them through it, ask for that feedback and try to automate it if possible, especially at the end of the transaction. Whatever process works for you when it comes to feedback. I know some agents have really good luck sending out paper forms or handing paper forms, using Google Forms. That's a nice electronic way to do it. You can include a link in an email. That's what I use at the end of a transaction when I send all my documents, the electronic file. I include, hey, help me get better. Please complete this Google Forms feedback response. There are also some great online platforms that you can spend money for, and that happens, and that feels maybe a little more anonymous for a buyer or seller, to be honest, and provide you feedback. But pro tip, if the feedback isn't awesome, don't add it to your website. So, you know, you get control over that. You can add those manually wherever you want, and then post them. So that kind of goes back to that once a month, take those feedback or testimonials and add them in places where future consumers will see them. And one of my favorites, grab stuff off Facebook. I've seen that before where a client will, you know, I'll make a post that we sold their home in, you know, one day or whatever, and they say this like amazing thing when they share it. Oh my God, Christy's so great. We were listed for sale by owner for 6 months, and she came in and we made a few adjustments and we sold in one day. Oh my God, she's amazing. Everyone should use her. I'm going to copy that awesome Facebook post and put it in all my places, on my website, on Zillow, whatever, you know, with my client's permission. Hey, do you care if I use this feedback? They're not going to care. They put it on Facebook. So steal stuff from Facebook too. And I just kind of want to show you how some agents do this. Kelly Todd has her own website, and it's got a similar feel to what the testimonial section looks like on the Tucker Agent website, but this is just a nice way that she showcases that feedback. I loved that she included like the neighborhood where these people either bought or sold, just kind of further emphasizes where she works and does her business. So if I was reading this glowing review and I'm looking to sell or buy in Meridian Kessler, it just kind of encourages me to call Kelly because I just saw this great feedback. Here's what it looks like on the Tucker Agent website. Kind of got that scrolling thing at the bottom of our sites. And then some agents are so good about posting these on social media too. So Ryan, if you're on the call, hey, he did this. He sort of took that testimonial and made it into an Instagram post, and it's so beautiful because it's got, you know, his logo and his name, and then he went ahead and posted that testimonial right into his Instagram feed. So that's another really great way to do it. I'm just going to show you, I think Mary or Farrah, here's one on Ferris. In their feed, they had also done sort of what Ryan did, where they made it look pretty and they posted that right on their Instagram. So a couple different ways to get those testimonials out there into the world. All right, we're coming to the end of this thing. So quick recap of what we talked about today. So we talked about discovering your value. Don't forget, you guys have that worksheet for both your value and the Tucker Company. I gave you lots and lots of great reasons why the Tucker Company has value, not only to you as an agent, but to your sellers. So definitely review that. Don't forget about our awesome seller tools that are available. So they're there as resources for you. I'm not suggesting that you bring, a binder full of junk to your listing appointment and, verbally vomit all over your clients, but things to have in your back pocket should it come up and should it present itself as an important thing for your seller that they want your help with. And then make sure you shine online. That's probably the most important part about today. Take all of that stuff, who you are, why you're affiliated with Tucker, how you're going to help your clients, and put that online, because that's where the eyeballs are as far as getting you exposure and emphasizing why someone should pick you. I swear, just like I said, when we go to buy something online after a listing appointment, you better believe they're Googling you and they're seeing what other people are saying and what does it look like online, and is Christy who she said she is that apparent online? So definitely put some time into that. And last call for questions. It looks like we've got like 2 minutes left. Anything else come in, Victoria?
Not so far.
Okay. No worries. We'll stick around for a few minutes. Quick reminder, we're going to send out those exercises as well as today's slides and the recording via email. So look for that to come out soon. Our next list to last is same time, same place next week, next Wednesday. So a week from today. If you haven't registered for that yet, the link is in the Buzz. And then also in that section in the Buzz, the list to last section, we just posted a pricing video from our very own broker in Anderson. Steve Thompson helped me with that. He manages our Anderson office and he's great. We put together sort of a mock pricing video for you. It's like 14 minutes. It's not super long, but that could be helpful for you as you're talking pricing with your people. So check that out. It's also on our YouTube channel. And with that, everybody have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.